Hey guys, what's good? It's me, J-Lei. You're listening to J-Lei Tales, and today, J-Lei tells the seriously disturbing, yet admittedly fascinating story of the boy who had a sexual relationship with his mother. This one's a doozy. Let's get into it. Okay, right off the back, this video comes with its own trigger warning because we are discussing the topic of incest. So there's a subreddit on Reddit called AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything, and it is popularized by Q&As on almost every topic. It's a good place to go if you're a curious cat with a lot of questions on a lot of different things. These topics pretty much have no limit, and a lot of people like to retell harrowing stories that they've gone through or like to share scandalous gossip. And some people use it as a sort of confessional where they can speak openly and honestly and freely to a bunch of faceless strangers. Well, back in 2011, one person took full advantage of this confessional booth and uploaded a post titled, "I am a man who had a sexual relationship with his mother." Now, legit, this post gave me a headache when I was reading it. My jaw was swinging, my head was scratching, my eyes were bulging. I was questioning to myself, have I had enough internet for one day? But I just couldn't stop reading. Morbid curiosity got the better of me. And his post goes as follows. When I was in my teens, I had a sexual relationship with my mother. I think we would both characterize the experience as positive. Please feel free to ask anything, but I will not discuss anything that will reveal my identity. Recently, my mum and I spoke to a researcher that is studying examples of incest that were not traumatic. He is preparing a paper on the subject. I am not an advocate for incest. For whatever reason, it worked for us. Do not use my experience as a template. I am here to relate my experience, not debate incest as a subject. Here's a few frequently asked questions that people would probably ask. It started when I was 14, my mum was 37. I have an older sister who was unaware and not involved. My dad knew about it from the beginning and supported my mum's decision. It ended around college. And plot twist, turns out I was not the only one who was curious about this. Because questions came in abundance trying to figure out this disturbing scenario and trying to get into the mentality of all the parties involved. And to be fair to this dude, you gotta give him credit, he was very open and honest about his answers. I mean, it's not very often you come across a real live motherfucker who not only is willing to admit it, but is allowing himself to be probed for more answers. So I thought about how I was going to format my video because I usually tell the disturbing Reddit post in story form. But considering this is a ask me anything kind of post, I thought I would just read out a lot of the questions that people had and the answers he gave to them. One user asked, "Stupid question, any possibility you're adopted?" And a man said, "Nope, biological." Another user asked, "Who started the interactions and was your dad ever present?" And the man replied with, "Well, without giving away too much info, I was injured in an accident at 14 and incapacitated. I went from masturbating 2 times a day to 0. After 2 weeks, I was frustrated and I took it out on my parents. My mum and dad knew what was up and talked about my mum helping me masturbate. They approached me one afternoon and my mum said, 'I know you are frustrated, and while you are frustrated, would you like some help masturbating?' Blood was rushing in my ears and I said yes, but I didn't really know if she meant what I thought she meant. I was excited and confused. She said she would take care of me when I went up to bed, hours away. Over the years, my dad has seen us together, but he never watched per se." This is probably the most fucked up thing I've ever read, I ain't gonna lie. Another user asked, "What is your relationship like with your dad? Would you describe it as close?" And he answered, "I have a great relationship with my dad. We are close." You say the relationship was mutually positive for you and your mum? How so? Well, I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. I really thought I was the luckiest kid alive. My mum told me then and since that it was great for her too. Do you have a relationship now? Have you had other girlfriends or sexual relationships? I am in a long-term relationship and sex is great. I don't have any hang-ups or anything. I'm not into MILFs or kids, just women my own age. Another user commented saying most people are naturally repulsed at any sexual thought about family members. Even at 14, I think I would have vomited at the thought of anything sexual involving my mother. Why do you think you were not repulsed? How did it progress into full sex with her? What do you think your mother got out of this? And he replied with, I was always attracted to her, even before it started. It progressed slowly. Hand jobs for about a year, then oral on me for a year, then sex. I was almost 17 when we first had sex. I didn't see her naked until we started having full sex. I know it excited her and she loved the interactions as much as me. Oh my god, dear sweet Jesus, I need a moment, I might be sick. Another user questioned how often did you have sex with her, and he replied with, sometimes daily, sometimes a couple times a week. Another user had a lot of questions. They asked, did you ever kiss? Was anything clearly off limits? In which he replied, we had kissed when orgasming, but it was weird and rarely happened. How did your relationship with your mum change through those years? Do you still respect her authority as much? Did you keep seeing her as a mother, or did she become more of a sexual partner? Yes, I respected her authority. She never rewarded or threatened with sex. Any jealousy issues when you started dating? No jealousy from her. Were your sexual dealings limited, confined to a specific place, like your room for example, or were you active in different places? It happened in my room and in her room. Was there any close calls in which you felt excited by her, or did anything sexual when you shouldn't have, in public or with other people nearby? No close calls. Was there any romance going on, like dates, watching movies together or anything like that went beyond something purely sexual? No dates, haha, it wasn't a romantic relationship. And finally, did your sexual experience with her change the gifts you gave each other on birthdays, Christmas, Valentine's Day and the like? Did you ever give each other clothes while thinking about removing them, or underwear that you knew you both liked? In which he responded, no special presents. If you ask me, she was giving him way too much as it was. Someone else asked, do you ever plan on telling your sister? And he said, I will never tell my sister. If the researcher plans on publishing his works, will you allow him to share your identity? He will never reveal identity. Did your parents' sex life change during or after you guys started having sex? I believe that it helped their sex life. Did your father ever become jealous of you? Neither of us were jealous. If you had a younger brother, would you encourage him to do the same thing you did with your mother? Because it could turn out so bad, I wouldn't want it to happen with anyone else. Do you think you would have slept with your mother if you never had that accident? Great question. Probably not. So it seems like that accident that he had left more than just a few physical scars. Saying that, this kid thinks he hit the fucking jackpot. That is a sick kind of grooming if you ask me. Another person said, if you ever have a son, would you support your wife if the same situation arose? And they said, probably not. And then this is a bit of a funny one. Someone else went, by son, you mean his brother. Someone else said, do you smile every time someone calls you a motherfucker? Someone else wrote, where does your mum rank on the best time I've had in bed full? And he replied, and this is gross. Good question. It is right up there, probably because I was young and excited for anything I could get. Also, because of the nature of our relationship, multiply it by 100. It was a safe, secure, loving relationship. Plus, she is talented. See, this is why I make these videos, because when I come across shit like this, I need to share it so I can lessen my burden and traumatize everyone else. Sharing's caring. Another person asked, did you cuddle afterwards? Ever kiss passionately? Or was it just straightforward sex? In which he replied there was no cuddling. There once was a passionate kiss that happened during, but it was weird, so we didn't kiss after that. Pretty vanilla sex. Here, I'll say it. Guy fucking his mum says that kissing her is weird. And the final question, because I seriously cannot cope with anymore, was, were you ever attracted to your sister? In which he replied, yes, but not overly. And trust and believe there is a lot more questions and a lot more answers. I will leave the link to the original Reddit post down in the comment section. And so there you have it. Now, me personally, I think that the mother should probably be imprisoned for the rest of her life. I think the dad should be shipped off to the military as soon as possible. And as for the son, I think he should be placed in immediate foster care, regardless of the fact that he's now a fully grown man. But who am I to judge? Each to their own. Listen, I am so sorry if this one disturbed you, but it disturbed me too, and a problem shared is a problem halved. Unless that problem is a 2-week injury that stops you being able to get off, then you should probably wait it out, keep it to yourself, and save yourself a hell of a lot of trauma. For more retellings of dark, strange, and mysterious Reddit posts, make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next story. And until then, stay safe out there.